Hello everybody, happy Thursday. We are going live today with Malka, and we're going to ask her those 4 questions that we asked to some of our other pros a week or 2 ago. And I'm looking forward to hearing her responses. I think it's so interesting always to ask people what their best advice is, what their worst advice that they ever got was. I just find those questions fascinating, so I thought that you might find it interesting too. Thank you for joining, Avi and Ayala. We're just going to wait for Malka to join. And then, maybe she's waiting for me to invite her, actually. So let's try that. Malka. Okay, for me to invite you. Malka. Thank you for joining, KJ. Hey, Faye. Hey, I am a fighter. How are you doing? I've been seeing you on Instagram lately. How's it going? Okay, let's see if Malka now. Okay, accept. Okay, Malka, I just accepted you. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I'm a fighter. Malka, I accepted you. You gotta, I don't know, do something with that maybe. Keep accepting you. I'm not sure what the problem is. It says you're unable to join. Are you following OK Clarity? Check if you're following us. I think we're following you, so it shouldn't be an issue. Let me stop it again, just make sure I'm following you, and I'll start this again. Thank you guys for being patient. We got you. Okay.
Here we are. Yeah, I couldn't. There was no thing for me to click to.
No worries.
Get in.
No worries. I'm happy. I was about to bounce off. I was just about to bounce off and start again because I thought that maybe I wasn't we weren't following you. And I think you guys you have to be a follower mutually. But basically you joined, and that's great. And Maisel, thank you for sharing that. Someone just wrote a thank you to us, and it seems like Malka figured it out, which is great. Okay, amazing. So thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So you're an awesome coach, and I wanted to bring your wisdom to light. And I just feel like these are interesting questions to ask people. So I figured let's ask Guitar Pros. So my first question is the worst advice that you ever got.
So, these are really great questions, and I thought this would be so much fun to do. And then I started thinking about them, and it's really hard.
And they're hard.
Answers,
I know. It happens to be you're not the only one. I was telling my mom about this. We were driving the other day, and I was I'm doing this new thing where I ask people these 4 questions, and she's what are the 4 questions? And I told her them, and she's I don't even know what I would answer. She's thinking, and the next hour was a conversation. I was that wasn't the purpose of me sharing this, but okay.
No, they happen to be really great questions, and it's great to think about it. But and when you sent them, I said, "Oh, this will be so much fun," and I'm so excited to do this because I think it's fun to think about.
But it's not as easy as it sounds. I know.
It's
not. If someone would turn the tables on me, I'd be I can't. I'm out.
Okay, so what's the worst advice you ever got?
I don't even probably so many things that I would have to honestly meditate on it.
Right. I mean, so like I said, I was thinking about it, and I think one of the worst things I was ever told, I wouldn't say, I don't know that I would call this advice, but this popped into my mind, so I'm going to go with it.
Sure.
When you're upset about something or something's bothering you and somebody says, don't let it bother you.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking about when that popped into my mind. And
sure.
I don't know why that was the thing I got, but I think that's terrible advice.
I love it. I really like that.
I think it's the worst thing you could say to somebody, actually. It's very, the opposite of empathy and
validating.
And validation. And I think, anything, if I've learned anything, it's that whatever we feel, whatever we experience is there to teach us.
Exactly.
So if something is bothering you, first of all, like you said, validate it. It is bothering you, and don't put judgment on it. It's not bad or good, or you're not right or wrong for that. And then, and I don't know, give yourself what you need, that which comes, you have to learn about that. You have to learn that about yourself, and then also learn about, well, why does this bother me? And what can I learn from it? And what can I do with that?
Yeah.
So
I love that. Don't let it bother you. That's bad advice. I love that. It's so simple. And I totally can think of people that I love and that love me that have told me that in the past. and it's never helpful. And it's always like, no,
Right.
but it's bothering me. So like, let's do something different with that, you know?
Right. And they mean well, you know, like you said, the people who love you, like
Exactly. Exactly.
Think
It's because they care, and they're like they try to like put themselves in your shoes, and they would be able to brush it off. So I think they say like, okay, like you can also do it. Like, come on, you got this, you know?
Right.
Don't
And
let it
also,
bother you. Don't sweat it.
right. Because also you don't want to obsess about it. You don't
Yeah.
want to, you know, but
Sure.
you know, like, yeah, if it bothers you, then it bothers you. And
Exactly. And let's figure it out. And like,
and that's valid.
Exactly. I like that. I love it. Such a good piece of like, it's a good answer. Like, let me,
Okay.
and that's
Thank
what
you.
my intention was, like the first thing that comes to your mind, you know, like I wouldn't ask these to people that didn't see the questions before, because I think you have to sometimes filter what comes to your mind first. But if you can go to that place and be like, yeah, that was the first thing that came to my mind, even if it sounds so insignificant to you, I think that like this is so unique to me, and like it's such a good answer. So thank you for that. And now this is a little easier sometimes. What is the best piece of advice, or advice that you would give to your younger self? So it could be advice that somebody gave you, or advice that you give to your younger self, or yeah.
So I know the best advice I think that I would give to my younger self is like, don't get stuck on things. Don't get stressed about things. Like, let things happen, and also like learn from them. I guess there's a theme here where like, you know, everything that you experience and everything that you're feeling is there to give you some information.
Exactly.
And like, you know, there were so many times, like so many, you know, like this is advice I would give, you know, somebody else, you know, because, and I wish I would have known this to myself also. Like, there was a period of time where I felt like I had to have everything all figured out before I did something, or I went ahead with something. And then I learned, like, you know what, sometimes you have to just jump in, and learn it along the way.
Exactly.
And don't always have the answers. And like the good advice that comes up from that is that, you know, sometimes it's better even if you don't have it all figured out, because you could say like, okay, here, you know, and yes, as a coach, you know, we work with people who have goals, like, here's what you want, here's the outcome that you want, and let's talk about the steps we need to take to get there. But at the same time, you need to be open about the results, because you might find along the way that, you know, your goals change or they're modified, and you have to be open to that, because really what you thought was what you wanted is actually not the right thing for you, because as you've taken the steps on your journey, you realize like, oh wait, that's not really, that doesn't sit right, that doesn't feel right anymore. So open to that, and it could be just a slight, you know, deviation from that, or it could be something totally different. And
exactly.
And that's what makes it fun, actually. So.
I actually want to write that down. I think it's great. Like, you don't, I recently, I think it's probably up on our stories. Like, there was a quote, I think from like young Pablo or something, about like, you don't have to be all healed before you take that next step. You don't have to have it all. It's essentially what you're saying. Like, you don't have to have it all figured out before you make the next move. And like, sometimes we think that we do have to, and for more reasons than just like, you don't have to, because you'll be paralyzed and you won't make the next move. But also the next move teaches you about the next move, and it teaches you about the next, like, everything's teaching you for your next step. And like, you can't have it all figured out, you know? And like, if you would know every part of your process also, like, you probably wouldn't do anything, because like, things are going to be hard along the way, you know? So like, if you had every single like stumbling block figured out, you would be like, there's way too many, I can't even do it, you know?
Right. Because you could get discouraged. And also, I think, like, be open about the whole thing, because it's more fun that way. And I think having fun is really important also. Like, you know, be serious and apply yourself and take it seriously. But at the same time, leave that little, you know, wiggle room and have fun with it. Because, you know, because, you know, if you don't have fun, then it's not going to be good anyway. And
exactly.
To make it too heavy. And you never know. You might have never thought you liked, or you were interested in whatever, you know, and that's another piece of advice. Like, if something's interesting to you, learn about it. I saw you had this with somebody else, the live you did with a therapist, where she said something like, learn what interests you.
Follow your curiosity. Yes. That was Karen. She's amazing. And she's like, follow your, I love that too. Sure. Like, that's so important. But I think this is also like, so it can't be emphasized enough. Like, you don't need to have it all figured out before. Cause I get so many questions also, like on the AMAs, people are always saying like, am I healthy enough to start dating? Am I healthy enough to get married? Like, I'm not telling people, giving them the green light to like, you know, whatever, bring up a family, but like, you can't know until you try something. Like, start, you know, and then you'll see along the way. Like, you have to go for it. There's no like, it's not like school where like you pass a test and then you can like go to the next grade. You know, it's like, life is just the experience of it teaches you what you need and what needs to change. So I love that. You don't have to have it all figured out.
Right. And
before
also
you
know
start.
that there are people that can, there are people there to help you along the way
Yeah.
also, or not even people, like, you might find a book like, oh my gosh, this book is exactly what I needed to read, and
Exactly.
to read it,
Exactly.
and you might find things that you didn't know you were interested in. Like, that's what the thing, like, I love that
Sure.
about curiosity, because you might think like,
Sure.
oh, I mean, I know people who are doing totally different things from,
Well,
actually, I'm one of those people doing some, I actually
yeah.
majored in art history. So
Wow.
there you go.
There you go. There you go. It's funny. A lot of people that like are interested in history are also like become therapists. I've heard that before. And like coaches, essentially, it's like a similar field where like you're interested in people, interested in helping them self-actualize. So I think that it's not like that far off, but yeah,
Oh, interesting.
it's
No,
definitely
but
like yeah,
not history, it was art history.
art history.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's even different. Yeah. Okay. Definitely creative. Let me tell you that. Okay, tell me a lesson that you've learned from your therapist or coach or mentor, and if you could just identify who that would be from so that we could have some context, that would be helpful.
So my coach actually taught me something which is related to what we just talked about being open. She
Yeah.
said, let go of the outcome. You can set goals, and I think that's where I learned this from. Or maybe it's where I realized that, like, when she said that, I realized, like, okay, and I have to, I will be honest, I have a hard time with it, because
Sure. Who doesn't, right?
you want something and you want it to work out. So you have to, I learned not to be so scared. Like, I never would have done this,
Yeah.
in the past. This is really scary for me. Actually, it's not even scary now, but it would have been.
Right, but it would have been totally. I'm the same way. Like lives, for me to do a live was like, oh my God, I would have like extreme anxiety about it. And like you overcome it by doing it. Like that's the only way through.
Exactly.
So, like I totally understand. And I think like I'm hoping I make it a safe space for you and like for the people that I do lives with. And I think it comes, like people tell me after, like it's so chilled and it's so comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think it's because like I understand the anxiety. Like I so understand it that I'm like, I have to make it like comfortable, even for myself. Like, so I commend you for that and thank you for sharing that. But like, yeah, totally, you're not alone.
Yeah, no, I am comfortable, because you're making it like a conversation, and these
Yeah, well,
they're fun questions, so it's fun to do it. But like, do the things. Sometimes you have to do something that's a little scary, and you have to try something new. But like, don't be so stuck on, okay, this is like not what I mean when I say don't be stuck on the outcome. I mean, like, set goals and have intentions and set intentions and take the steps, but then let go of it, because you can't control every part of it. And then I guess that's where I learned how, like, oh, if you can't control everything, then who knows, you might discover something new.
Exactly.
And also, like, and I still do struggle with it, because, we all do, we set goals and we have something we want. We think, okay, here's what I need to do to get from here to there.
Exactly.
It's really hard to let go of it.
Exactly.
But I think that's great advice, and it's something that I work on. And so
strive to it. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a matter of like, if you don't even have that concept in your mind, then you feel like I must get that outcome. That's like the only possibility. And if you don't, you're like crushed and broken. But if you are striving for that, like kind of identity of like, I'm a person that can let go of the outcome. Like I can do that. Then when things, when your journey has twists and turns and you're not getting the exact outcome that you want, it's easier to be like, okay, like I'm actually that person that like, I'm okay with not getting the exact outcome that I wanted right now,
Right.
And also, it becomes easier.
It becomes easier to accept that, and to then know what you need to do with it. And if you're going to, get into the like kind of like, the energy kind of way of it, which, which isn't, there's something to that also. And I'm interested in that, but I don't think that's the whole part of it. But there's this thinking that like, you block what's supposed to be coming to you. And,
when you're so like holding on to the outcome.
Yeah. So I don't know how much I still have to figure out how I feel about that, but I think there's something to that in terms of where you block yourself. So
yes, I totally, I'm very into that like spiritual piece. And I think that you do, I think even on like on a very practical way, because I think when you're so heavily focused on the outcome, the steps that you're taking are like misled essentially, because they're like, you're not fully present in those steps because you're only caring about the outcome, that there's something lacking in every step. And essentially you're then eluding yourself from getting what you wanted. When you can let go of it and like just engage it, your full self in every aspect of the journey, all of a sudden, like you most likely you created a path that like will lead you to that outcome, you get it? It's like, I feel like on a very practical way, but then it's also like the very like metaphorical and like, you know, spiritual way that they say that. But I break it down for myself in a way that like I can understand it, because if I understand it, then it's easier to like let go of the outcome, essentially, you know?
Yeah. No, I love the way you broke it down, because it helps merge the two. Because sometimes it's hard to be in the whole like, you know, spiritual.
Yeah. Like, oh, if I have to just like let go and not understand why, but like and why you're doing that is because if I only hold on to the outcome, every step I take is like I'm doing half a job, essentially. Because I'm not really fully present. It doesn't really matter. It's like you step on all the people that are really there to like lift you up, you know, because you think like, I just need to get there. And like these people are insignificant, or this step is insignificant, instead of realizing, no, like this person is significant. This process is significant. I love it. Okay, amazing. And then what advice would you give? And of course it could be blended to this, what we spoke about, but like if it's different, that would be great. Advice that you've given that you would give to, let's say, a coach that's younger than you, that wants to do what you're doing, help people heal with their mind, body. I know that you focus a lot on body image, which I think is so important, especially in our community. And yeah, I'm like curious, like what advice you would give to somebody that's like, you know what, I looked at Malka and I would love to be a coach like she is. Like she's helped me and I want to do what she did, what she does, essentially.
You know, I'd say just keep on learning. You know, do your own research, learn from people who are doing something similar to what you're doing, see what you could, you know, see what sounds right to you from them. What can you, you know, like, what can you learn from that? Learn as much as you can about the field, and just like kind of practice it yourself, which is a really important piece of
that's like I love that. Become like so what you want to do.
Yeah.
Totally. That's amazing. And I think that's like even more important in like, I mean, I think it's important in every space, but I think like, you know, somebody could be a finance coach and they could still not be a multimillionaire. Like they still help people be a finance coach. But I think that, you know, if you're, let's say, a body image coach, if you're helping people with that, like it doesn't mean you're perfect with that, but like at least you're really like on your journey with that. At least you've like overcome that. You know what I'm saying? And like you really like own it, and you know that works, and that's what you want to help other people do, you know? So like it's important to really practice what you preach, essentially, before you preach.
No, and also like keep working on it, even if you don't have it all together, you know, and I struggle with it. I mean, I think that's what makes you relatable is also like understand, you know, knowing what it feels like and being able to, you know, I'm not going to share all of my challenges, but like I can, you know, I feel comfortable saying like, I struggle with body image and self-image because I'm a human being.
Exactly.
And I want to feel good about it. And I know that it's in my hands, and I'm, you know, and I learn about it. And I think, you know, every coach, every therapist has to be comfortable with the amount of, you know, personal information they share. So find, you know, find the you know, the place that feels good and comfortable for you, but also know that like whatever makes you makes you the coach that you are. So, you know, don't try to hide it, and don't try to like, you know, ignore it.
Right. Own your struggle and work on it at the same time that you're trying to help other people overcome their struggle, essentially.
Yeah. And also like know that you can learn from everything and everyone. So
even your clients. Yes, for sure. For sure. Every person that comes into your life, there's a lesson there for you. Love it. Thank you, Malka. This was amazing. This was so enjoyable. Like this is me actually like creating fun into like, okay, clarity. Like I enjoyed this. Like when else would I have time to like chat with you about these things? And I find it so interesting. So like for me, this is the fun that we have.
I had fun too. Thank you
so much. Have a good one.
Me on like for this. I love it.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.